Sophie the ballerina was a talented dancer. She was beautiful. Everyone in the world admired Sophie. When she pirouetted, the crowd would gasp in awe. When she jetted, everyone would applaud. As she galloped across the stage, the crowd oohed, and when she did her arabesque, the crowd ahed. Everyone thought Sophie was beautiful inside and out. Everyone adored her. But do you know what? Sophie wasn't happy. Shall I tell you why? Sophie had a secret. She didn't believe that she was beautiful inside. She thought she was a stinky, rotten, bad apple. And she thought that if people realised what she was really like inside and the things that she'd done, they wouldn't applaud any more. They wouldn't love her any more. And so Sophie worked really, really hard to hide her inside from everyone. Trouble is, sometimes it leaked out. One day, Sophie had lost her ballet shoes. The stage manager, Brenda, had picked up her shoes and was going to give them to her. Sophie just saw her with the shoes and thought she'd stolen them, and got really mad. She screamed and yelled and ripped up the stage curtain. She grabbed the stage prop castle and threw it and made a dent in the stage. She tore the leg off a model swan. Now Brenda was a wise woman. She'd been all around the world with the ballet and she had learnt lots of things. She knew that Sophie was a kind girl, and so when she did these things she knew that something was very, very wrong. She didn't think Sophie was bad. She explained to Sophie that everyone has done bad things. Some people have done things that are so bad they can't believe that if people really knew about them, they'd understand. And then Sophie did the bravest thing she's ever done in her life. It was really tricky. So much harder than a triple pirouette. So much braver than dancing on Covent Garden stage. She told the stage manager in a whisper what she had done. How she had hurt someone she loved more than she could believe, and how she could never forgive herself. And how she knew that if her parents, her aunties, her uncles, her brothers and sisters knew about the terrible things she'd done, they would never love her. Now, I'm sure you want to know what the terrible thing was. Well, I won't break Sophie's confidence, but it was pretty bad. She was worried that she'd have to leave her home. Maybe she'd even be put in prison. The stage manager explained how big love is, and how love is bigger and stronger than the most awful things that people have done. And do you know the weird thing that happened? The terrible secret that Sophie had been carrying felt a little bit less heavy and a little bit less awful now she'd shared it. Now, the next bit in the story took a long time, so I'll skip some of the details. But in the end, Sophie was able to tell people that mattered what she'd done, and she was amazed at their response. No one was happy about the things she'd done, and there was some sorting out to do to make sure it couldn't happen again. But Sophie felt so awful she didn't want it to happen again, so she was okay about this. And those people she was worried about not loving her? They loved her still. Brenda had been right. Love was stronger than the awful thing. Slowly but surely, Sophie came to understand why she'd done the terrible thing. It wasn't because she was an awful person. It was because she had darkness in her heart and mind because of some tricky things that had happened to her when she was little. So Sophie began to understand herself and began to forgive herself, and the weight of the terrible thing got lighter and lighter. In the end, Sophie became so much lighter that her jetés got higher and higher, and in fact, she became known as Sophie Springs, the world-famous springing ballerina. The end.